I once heard that a lesson is not something you learn or a podcast you listen to or a book you read. I heard that a lesson is you making a different decision given the same situation. I knew that I had to prove to myself that I had learned lessons from my past iterations of the business of saying, I'm not going to repeat that mistake. I am going to take the time that I need to set things where they wanted to go. So are you ready to get a real, uncut, behind the scenes look at building a new sales department? How about let's get more specific? How about an inside look at what's happening in my business as we build a sales department? So if you've ever wanted to learn more about sales, expansion, and building from the bottom up, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Jasmine Star Show, where I empower 7-figure entrepreneurs to scale to 8. And today I am sharing an inside, very personal look at building out a sales team as part of Jasmine Star Brands. So a little bit of clarity. In the past, I have built my business in a multitude of ways. I've had a lot of iterations of my business. When I first started my business, I was doing one-to-one sales. I was a photographer. And so my sales was going to an art director or an editor or a client. I was doing one-on-one sales. And then all of a sudden I started getting into education. I started getting into business building and sharing how I was doing it. And so I was selling at scale. So I was selling just myself to a lot of people. So that instead of one-to-one, it became one-to-many. And I've learned a lot of tools along the way. So I have sold by way of webinars, boot camps, challenges. I have sold from stage. I have sold from newsletters or an email funnel. I have sold by way of ads. All of those have been separate tools in my tool belt of business building and of sales. Those were all wonderful. They were all effective, and they were all tools for sale. Now I am ready to try something new. I have done one-to-one sales personally. I have done one-to-many personally. And now we are building out one-on-one sales that are not just me. We are building out a sales team. Now, I'm very excited to add a sales team because I am just looking at this at another way to sell on my business tool belt. I want to add as many tools to my tool belt as I scale towards growth and success. So in early 2025, in early August 2025, we unveiled a new offer called the Consistent 10K. Now, we did it very, very, very intentionally. I'm going to get to all of that. I am actually creating a video diary. I was recording the process of building this sales team from the ground up. I have a lot of inside looks. Some of it I'm a little not so excited to share, but it is the real. So the Consistent 10K is a step-by-step program showing our system how to build consistent 10K months. And we're doing this by way of coaching, accountability, and nitty-gritty. We see you, and we're going to carry you every single step of the way. This is not a course. It is a full-on program on how to build a business in a new way. So this program is higher touch, and we were focused on attracting a very specific type of person. It was a new offer and a new way to sell this offer. So we were looking for a very specific person before we took this out publicly. So I defined 4 key components that we would want for the people who are starting off on this program. So hungry, ready, determined, and responsible. So when we were taking these sales calls in the beginning, I was never calling them a sales call. I was calling them a clarity call because there was clarity for me to get people into this program. Are they the right fit? Are they going to do the work? Because we weren't looking for sales necessarily. We were looking for success stories. That's what we were really, really running towards. And a clarity call for them. I would tell people, listen, it's got to be a complete heck yes or a very clear heck no. Clear yes or clear no. That's why we're calling them clarity calls. Now, how could I ensure the quality of the community? Well, one-on-one sales calls were really helping us. The one-on-one clarity calls, these are really helping us understand who was coming in, what was their greatest need, and what were things that stopped them in the past from building a business with recurring revenue. But if I knew I needed to do a lot of these sales calls, I didn't have a sales team. So back in December of 2024, we started building out the structure of what we would need to build our sales team. And then in June, July, I started realizing that there was so much I didn't know. So I didn't want to waste time. I didn't want to make avoidable mistakes. Like, I know a lot of people make the same mistakes. I didn't want to make a mistake that was avoidable. So who could I learn from? Who could shorten my learning curve? And I wanted to protect my personal brand. I have never had a different salesperson sell on behalf of an offer. So to me, because my offers are so close to my name, my face, my likeness, my promises, that I wanted to make sure that this team was built literally from the inside out. So after doing a bit of research, we looked at consultants and we looked at coaching programs. And we decided to invest in a program called Closers.io. No, this is not a paid ad. No, I am not an affiliate. If they ever wanted to kick me down with like a gift card somewhere, I'd gladly never turn it away. But this is just my honest insight and feedback about that experience. And I'm definitely citing them because they set the standard for how I wanted to build my program from the ground up. So let's describe this sales call. So it's super meta. Like, I know I'm going to be investing in a sales program, so I need to set up a sales call. So I went, filled out an application online. I got set up with a salesperson, myself and a team member by the name of Katie logged in, and there we meet Dirk. Now, Dirk is very put together, very well spoken. I think he's from like Eastern Europe and had a very direct way of communicating. But the thing I really liked about it was that he listened first. He just said, what brought you in here? What do you need? And he was taking notes and he was sharing his screen. And finally, after 10 minutes of now what I know is called discovery, he went in, made a very clear offer. And I told Dirk at the beginning, Dirk, I'm not gonna say yes on this call. Like, my goal here is to take time for me to figure out what it is I want to do. Although I know that this program is something I'm likely going to do, I'm not going to say yes on the call. So I really liked that he laid it out. He asked a lot of questions, like what was stopping me from saying yes, things of that nature, but he didn't push. He treated me like a grown woman making a decision, and I really appreciated it. However, we got off the call, and maybe an hour later, he sent us a very detailed email, very specific to the things we wanted, and he said, if you are ready to make a decision, let's hop on a call tomorrow. I just liked everything about the way that it moved, and so I said, yes, let's set up a call tomorrow. That was it. Next day, paid the contract. So we invested $20,000 for this 90-day program, and that also included them recruiting 2 closers for our team. Now, I don't know if that pricing will change. That is what we invested at the time of this recording. This is, again, not an ad. I want to be very clear that they are more than able to change their pricing, and it is what it is. I will say that we signed the contract. They set up our very first onboarding call, and I felt so nervous. I felt excited. I wanted to know what to expect and how to show up. And so I decided that I was going to document the journey. So right after our very first onboarding call, I recorded this video.
I just got off a call with Closers.io, and I have to tell you, my mind is blown. I started the call by saying, we're going to give you all the information we have. We want to make the most of this. And ideally, I'm just not even gonna lie, I really want to be like the valedictorian student. I want to go in and I want to learn. And I said, I know that we don't have it together. And all I really want from you is to tell us how to get better. Tell us the lessons we need to learn and what is the quickest way that we can make this happen. So I had the opportunity to meet with our sales coach. Her name is Sue, and Yegor hopped on the call as well. And it was in this process that they first understood what were our requests, what were our goals, and then they asked us to get very specific. They're like, how do we know we've done a really great job? And so he gave them some very pinpointed goals. They gave us a little bit of estimates, and then we got into data. They said, if this is how many people that you want to close during this beta launch period, this is how many calls we're gonna have to get set up. This is the average show up rate. This is what we think you're going to close at. We just reverse engineered everything that we needed. And on the back of pure data and analytics, we changed. We went from a 3-week open period to a 4-week open period. We're beginning to hire our sales team, and they told us straight out, if you want to build a successful sales team, you need to start doing the sales calls. And so myself and Katie are doing the sales calls. We're going to be refining our scripts. We're going to be overcoming objections. We can't expect somebody to close if we have not done it ourselves. Ooh, that is like a dose of my own medicine. This is things that I say all the time, but to be able to have somebody just say it to me so clearly, make no mistake. I am scared. I'm excited. I am ready. And I literally told Katie, I said, Katie, let us at it. We're going to take a big bite of this thing. We are going to tear it to shreds. We are going to learn so much. And I feel my hands are sweaty. I got mom spaghetti. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not Eminem, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I already feel an ROI. I smell an ROI, baby.
Okay, so I didn't mention that part right? Maybe I need to say that part again. They told us we needed to do the sales calls. That was not what I expected. I thought I was going to them so that they would pair us up with closers. And it's like the Instagram gods were literally laughing at me, because after they told me that we were going to have to be doing our own sales calls, I came across an Instagram post from Closers.io founder. His name is Cole Gordon. And on his Instagram post, it was, never expect a sales team to sell an offer you have not sold yourself. And I was like, all right, speaking clear to me. And I don't want to admit it, that I wanted to abdicate taking those sales calls because I did not want to sit across from somebody on the internet and say, I've put my whole heart and soul into this offer, and I really think it's gonna be freaking game changing. And the results that we've seen have been really freaking incredible. So yes, please, would you like to sign up for this program? Like, why am I turning into Oliver Twist? I don't know. It was just, I felt like a popper, please give me some money for this thing. I hated that vibe. And they just looked across me and they were just like, you're gonna do these sales. You have to know how to set the pace and the benchmark for what you're gonna be expecting from your sales team. Straight out. They also said you're gonna be building your SOPs, standard operating procedures, and you're gonna build out onboarding for your closers and your setters. And we had our marching orders. So when I look back at the video that I had just posted, I almost pity her. Like, I pity that version of Jasmine. Like, I look back, I'm like, oh, you silly, silly girl. You had no idea what you were getting into. I had no idea how much work we still had to do. And this video explains it.
So she starts off this message with, Jasmine, please don't hate me. Anytime I see a message like that in Slack, I immediately start panicking because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? So yesterday, it's been about a week and a half since the last time I checked in. And yesterday I got a message from Katie, who is helping me go through this program. We try to do things in pairs in the organization. Like, if I'm building, I know that I can be a bottleneck if I'm the only person on the team who knows what to do. So we're going in, we're learning it. She's setting the pace. She's just working faster than I am. In fact, this morning I had a conversation with JD and I was just like, I can't keep up with her pace. She's moving too fast. And he's like, well, Katie is just as busy as you are. So what is making you think she's moving faster? And I'm like, I don't know. It's maybe that she's working longer hours in the day, or maybe she's working over a weekend, but I don't know, because she's really setting the bar and challenging me to step up. Because there's part of me that's like, well, let's just push the launch date. I don't want to push the launch date. I want to put my head down and I want to hit a goal in the time that we had set. And in order for me to do this, this is why she sent this message. And she said, Jasmine, please don't hate me. Because I had already cataloged time. So my executive assistant went through and started putting time in. When am I going to practice my sales pitch? How am I going to be focusing on my video sales letter? I'm doing all of these things. And then yesterday, Katie sends a message and says, Jasmine, I think you should watch about 7 hours of training. And she said, oh, and I had your EA look over the calendar and we don't even see 1 hour of availability in the next 2.5 weeks, which is when I'm supposed to have all of this done. So I decided to say that this is a lesson and this is teaching me something. And while I will not be able to watch the trainings during my business day, I decided to say, when I go on walks, I'm going to be watching the trainings, listening to the trainings. When I get ready in the morning, like doing my makeup for the day, I'm gonna have my laptop up and I am watching and listening to the trainings. I will be doing that at the gym. I'm listening to these trainings. So I'll find a way to squeeze it in. And I think I don't know if you hear my daughter, she's singing right now. So that's going on in the background. And so I just wanted to document the process, because I think that what comes up for me is limited time, limited availability. How are we going to fit it all in? And I think if you just pull a step back and say, we want it and we want it done in this time, and we will find a way to make it happen, even if it does encroach for a little while on time that I like to keep for myself. I really do like to keep my head clear during workouts. I like to keep my head clear in the morning as I'm prepping. I love listening to business podcasts as I'm prepping. And so instead of the podcast, I'm doing this. It is for a short period of time. It is setting me up for success. And the reason I'm creating this now is because Katie sent me a message in Slack, and it was a quote from Cole, the founder of Closers, the program that we decided to invest in. This is his quote. If you can't close your own offer, don't hire a salesperson. You'll have no idea if they're good or terrible. 98% of successful companies follow this path. Founder sells, founder hires, founder scales, skip step 1, and you're gambling. So we're not skipping step 1. There will be no gambling here.
So in this next video, I'm going to share, I said that I was documenting this journey, and I am doing just that even when it makes me uncomfortable. I want to be clear here though. I said in this video that you're going to see July 23rd. No. It was not July 23rd. It was June 23rd, and I was so exhausted. I just completely lost time of track and days. I couldn't think straight.
It is July 24th. I think I look as exhausted as I feel. We have been doing a lot, and we're running at a very fast pace. So what you see behind me, I just had to take a minute and pause because I am doing a lot right now. It is almost 7 p.m. and I have a photo shoot tomorrow for Consistent 10K. We're gonna be making all the promotional content. So we're gonna do photos, we'll do reels, we'll be focusing on carousels. We have our full day itinerary ready to go. So just getting all of the last minute details prepped for that. Today I had a call with our coach, and she had said that we were, quote, keeping her on her toes, which is a compliment, but I think she just stated the obvious. She said, you guys are moving very fast. She's like, you have about 2 weeks before this is to launch, and we have a lot to do. And so what's left to do? Well, I have to finish all of the trainings. So I'm doing that as often and frequent as I can. We are starting our recruiting process. So we are going to be matched with a recruiter, and we are putting together what they call like a white paper. We're going to position this offer and myself for to attract the best type of closers. But here's the tricky part. We've never launched this offer before. So it's not like we could say, oh, we have this type of success rate or this many leads. We haven't done it yet. And so I feel like we're trying to razzle dazzle people to come work on the team. So tomorrow I will be making a video. I'm just gonna go on my laptop, and I asked my coach, and I was like, do you think I can make a video? And she said, explain more. And I said, well, what if I just gave a 60-second pitch for this offer, who I am, this business, because I don't want to attract just any closer. I want to attract a great closer, but I want to attract a closer who wants to grow with us. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to attract a closer who's going to be doing $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. I want that. And so I want to attract that type of person. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be, I'm getting my makeup done, moving everything to the car, recording the video, driving to the studio. And while I'm driving to the studio, I'm gonna take a laptop and I'm gonna be listening to the trainings. You gotta just squeeze it in wherever you can. Side note, I think it's easy to get very overwhelmed, and it's easy to say that there's just not enough time. It feels that way. But a little geeky silver lining, we're using ChatGPT. So been prompting ChatGPT. Okay, so back up. I want to use ChatGPT because both myself and the team, we want to practice our sales calls, but we didn't want to practice with each other because it was just too easy. We already knew the types of questions to ask and how do we overcome an objection. And so instead of setting up mock sales calls, which is what I thought I was going to do, just get strangers. So I thought I would be able to go into the social curator community and ask if anybody wanted to sit on mock sales calls. And I thought I was going to do that until we decided to prompt ChatGPT and say, explain what our offer is. Then I'm going to say, I'm going to be doing a sales call. I'm going to call you. Let's just say, I'm going to say your name is Sophia and I'm going to list our dream customer. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to practice my sales pitch with you. And so I did the talk to text, and the ChatGPT, my Sophia, is talking back to me. This has been the coolest way to get real-time feedback and practice with what ChatGPT will come back at me with. And then I get to ask ChatGPT how well I did. What was the likelihood of closing? So it's been a cool way to get our reps in without having a human to talk on the other side. So that's been a highlight because I don't have to set up sales calls during normal business hours or work around somebody's schedule. I could literally do a sales call at 4 a.m. in the practice, my sales call at 4 a.m. in the morning. So keep posted.
So the following day, I woke up at 4 a.m. and that was the day of our content shoot for the Consistent 10K. It was a promotional shoot that we were doing. And I documented how I prepared to create a recruiting video. And I just didn't want any recruiting video. I wanted a solid one. I wanted somebody to look at this video and say, I trust this person. Even if this offer is new and they've never built out a sales team, I want to trust that person. So I had to create that recruiting video, and I'm going to show you the end result of that video. So what you're going to see now are two videos. You're going to see me on the day of making that video, and then I'm also going to show you the recruiting video. We're going to turn to that right about now.
It's June 25th, the day of our Consistent 10K photo shoot. And before I go, I set up some time to do a video to recruit our potential closers, and I'll probably use this same video for setters. I'm just gonna record it on my computer, and then what I'll probably do for the podcast is drop in that video here. I spent about a few minutes this morning writing a few notes about what I wanna do in this video, and the goal, the dream here, would be to get it around 60-ish seconds. So maybe 1 to 2 minutes max. My name is Jasmine Star, and I am CEO of Jasmine Star Brands. Over the last 10 years, I've had experience dropping out of law school, picking up a camera, becoming a photographer, creating content, courses, memberships, and even my own tech company called Social Curator. And I will tell you that based on a litany of experience, the number one milestone I've been hearing entrepreneurs say again and again is they would determine their success if they were able to make $10,000 a month. And so it is with this deep pride that I am excited to announce we are launching a new offer called the Consistent 10K. This is a 90-day coaching program with consistent feedback and step-by-step process. We're going to teach crafting an offer, marketing, sales, and then ultimately how to scale. My audience is female. They're in their 30s, 40s. They are mothers, and they are here to not just build consistent 10K, but their ultimate goal is to build a 7-figure life and business. I would love for you to learn more about who they are on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or TikTok, or on my website at Jasmine Star. I am looking for closers and setters who are ready to change their lives by empowering other people to build out their dreams and find their path to success. We're looking for somebody who's hungry, who's loyal, who is in a time of building and in a time of making a lot of money so they too step into their fullest potential. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Okay, so here's where things took a really wild and unexpected turn. We needed more time. Not the thing that I want to admit, but it was so clear. I didn't want to hire a closer, to be honest, I never hire a new team member, period, without SOPs and without proper onboarding and without clear KPIs, key performance indicators. I've learned way too many mistakes in the past that when I didn't have that set up, I wasn't setting the team up for success. So now I was faced with a decision. I once heard that a lesson is not something you learn or a podcast you listen to or a book you read. I heard that a lesson is you making a different decision given the same situation. I knew that I had to prove to myself that I had learned lessons from my past iterations of the business of saying, I'm not gonna repeat that mistake. I am going to take the time that I need to set things where they wanted to go. So when new team members, and we bring them in and they feel supported, well, they feel supported how? Standard operating procedures, key performance indicators, proper onboarding. When they feel supported and they know how to win, and then you know that you have expectations of them and they're very clear what those expectations are, they trust the organization. They are less likely to leave the organization, and they know immediately if they are a culture fit. Because of that, I refused to move forward without those foundational pieces in line. So that's what we needed to address, and this video explains all of that.
So here's an unexpected update. At the end of last week, we got some news that we needed to have a little bit more systems drilled down for onboarding a sales team. It was totally possible for us to do this and make it happen in a given amount of time, but I think it was just adding a lot of undue stress, especially going into a holiday weekend. And so what we decided to do was to push the launch back by a week. So the team and I, just two of our key stakeholders, had a meeting this morning to go through the logistics. And what we discovered in logistics is that by pushing it back a week, it impacted our availability while I was hosting a mastermind for 7-figure founders. So we just had to restructure the entire thing. And all I feel is great. I feel great. We start much slower than we had anticipated. And so we start with a very, very, very small launch to our wait list. I'm going to share a little bit about what that conversation was about. And then what I'll do is I will pop over and explain a little bit more about the exact timeline and what's needed, because we just were trying to do conversion numbers at a 70% show up rate to a warm audience. If I'm closing at 60%, my right hand is closing at 60%, and we're onboarding closers and they're closing at 20%, how many calls do each of us need to do in order to hit our benchmarks and our goals? And how much time would we need to make that happen? So we're going to do some math. We're going to use quant. We're going to approach this with as much strategy as possible and then give ourselves the runway that we need. I want to make sure that when we onboard Our closers, they understand our core values. They understand that we operate from excellence, that excellence is our baseline. I want them to know that we play like Olympic champions and we play to win. There's a few things that need to be in place, and if we have to do that slower to do it right, then that's the decision that we're making.
So before I show you how we debuted this program, I need to explain a few things. Okay, because this video, I was like, oh, do I include this video? And I am, but 4 things to take into consideration. Number 1, so I schedule outward facing meetings 3 times a week. So 2 of my 5 working days, I'm not wearing any makeup and I don't plan on wearing makeup. I'm just not, I know I'm my most successful when I am sitting in sweatpants and my hair is in a messy bun and I'm going down into like a deep work day. Those are when I'm most successful. So I only do outward facing meeting days. The second thing you need to know about the video I'm about to show you is that I recorded this next video on a day that was not an outward facing day. I might have team meetings where I don't need to wear makeup. That was one of those days. The third thing to take into consideration is while I was in this meeting, our COO got a really important email from a potential partner. And we had been trying to schedule a meeting with that potential partner for a while. And it was a pretty significant deal for us. And so while she got this email and we're in this meeting, she paused the meeting and she said, Jasmine, do you think that you can take a call today with that potential partner? Which leads me to point number 4. Because I wanted to lock in the contract, I accepted the meeting, but then I told the team that I was on the call with, I said, you guys, I'm going to do my makeup while we're in this call so that I have makeup on when I do that partnership meeting. So another thing that I do not do is I don't do my makeup on team calls. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just something I never do. So please, when I show you this video and I'm doing my makeup to explain what's going on, please don't think that this is a normal thing. Even though the team was sitting there being like, I cannot believe that you're literally doing your makeup. And I said, listen, it's a business call and it's also a makeup tutorial. Haters. Let's get into that video now.
Okay. So, oh my God, are you guys really gonna roll your eyes? Are you guys serious right now? Oh my God, I am out here doing my dang job and you guys are gonna roll your eyes at me? Y'all are tripping. Next. Okay, Katie, break it down, let's see.
Okay, let's go. Week 1 is July 14th. We released to half the wait list. We make the funnel truncated to 8 emails. Halfway through week 1, so let's say July 16th or 17th, Jade, you can make that call. We release to the second half of the wait list. Jasmine and I are prepared to take a full slate of calls July 14th and July 21st, although the last 3 days of that week, Jasmine can't, so it will really only be 12 calls the week of 12 calls from Jasmine the week of July 21st, 30 calls from me max the week of July 21st. The week of July 28th, Jasmine and I are available for calls, but we don't expect a full slate of calls that week, but we'll keep our schedules open. The week of August 4th, there will be no calls from anyone, and we will bring in the 2 new closers. Their onboarding day will be that day. We can onboard them, have a great call with them that morning, and they'll be focused that week on the training we've assigned and watching calls.
I love you. Oh my gosh, darling, I love you. You want to say hi, Miss Katie and Miss Jade?
Hi, Luna.
Oh, I mean, she is just a whole look. She's got a scarf. She's got her sweater. She's the Duchess. The Duchess of Newport has arrived. There you go, baby. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a great day. Bye. Love you. Okay. Okay. Drama queen, like her mom.
Whisper.
Oh, the whisper, yes. She's like demure, very demure. Okay.
The week of August 11th is all systems go. We released to social, we released to Jasmine's full list. And Jasmine and I, the week of August 11th through August 18th, we take as many calls as we can, kind of given our calendars. Jasmine already has some things. I'm gonna have to see like what my capacity is in terms of doing all the other things, but we take as many calls as we can. The week of August 11th, our closers are taking 2 calls per day, so 10 calls a week each. Same thing for the week of August 18th. Provided that they're doing a great job, they can have a full calendar starting the week of August 25th, and Jasmine and I can hopefully be on no calls to very few calls.
So that was the plan. And even though it was not what I expected or I wanted, I chose to believe a mantra I repeat to myself again and again. Everything is happening for me. Everything is happening for me. So we'll pause. And side note, that meeting that I had with that potential partner, it went really well. And we secured a content partnership. So I'm going to have a separate podcast about that arm of the business. So I don't talk too much about that arm of my business. But essentially what I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast. I definitely have never talked about it on social media. So a separate arm of the business that has been solely word of mouth, and we book it by organizations and large scale companies. They will come to me and they will ask if I will be able to create educational content. Sometimes I'm creating it for their clients. Sometimes I'm creating it for their employees. Sometimes I'm creating it for specific departments. And so they'll bring me in and I speak about marketing to their marketing department, or I'll speak about sales and branding to perhaps their sales team. Oftentimes it would be an organization to say, hey, we have a group of social sellers. Can you create content on social marketing? And it will be on behalf of our business. So they hire me, they take my IP, I turn over those recordings to them, and then they distribute it to their sales teams, their clients, or whoever is in the organization. So that content partnership thing, I'm going to have a separate podcast describing what that is for my business and how we've leveraged it. But for anybody who has questions, that what was going on, that was that partner meeting. Okay, now we're back to building out the sales team. So I want to go back to consistent 10K and setting up this new arm of the business and our sales team. And this video was taken just a few days before my very first sales call.
It's July 9th, and this Monday, the 14th, we begin sales calls. Now, here's the thing. We're actually going to roll it out to the wait list. Maybe some people will book on that day. I think there's a higher likelihood of us booking calls on the 15th. But either way, we're going to be ready on the 14th. So this week, we are finalizing all of our SOPs, our standard operating procedures. We have created a decision map. We are fully prepped to onboard our closers. And just this morning, we got our very first candidate from our recruiting process. Now, we believe that she's so qualified and very much in line with what we want that we are going to bypass group interviews with her. So she is going to be interviewing with our COO tomorrow. And if that goes well, I will be interviewing her on Friday. Now, this is a little bit in advance of when we wanted to recruit, but we wanted to make her a considerable offer if she was in alignment. So maybe by the end of the week, we're going to have our first closer locked in. That's pretty exciting. I think that everything's happening for us. And today had a call with my mastermind, and I outlined all of the things that we have in process as we build this department. And I think it's only when I had this opportunity to pause and reflect on the work that we've done given this short amount of time, it really does make me proud. Do I think it's perfect? No. Do I think that things are going to have to change and we're going to modify based on what we've learned? Yes. Absolutely. But I still feel very proud of this team. I feel excited. And at this point, I think that the only thing that we can do is to get started. I want to practice more sales calls. I want to get better at what I do. I want to perfect it. And I don't think that there's any which way of perfecting it until you're actually doing it, which makes me very nervous and also excited. And I just want to hit the ground running. I understand, though, that the best thing for us right now is to start slow, modify, tweak, get better, and then take this thing public in August. So, cheers. I'm very excited.
So now let's take a look at the very first day of our beta launch, which also happened to be the very first day of my sales call. Yes, we sent an email to a very, very, very small list of people, and on that same day, somebody booked a call. They happened on the same day.
Wah, 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 wah. If I had laser horns, if I was a DJ, that's what I would be doing right now. Today is July 14th. We sent an email to a wait list, a very small wait list, this morning at 6 a.m. We started getting sales calls scheduled for later this week. And then today, I got a sales call scheduled on the first day. I was not expecting that. So, had my sales call. The sales calls were scheduled, like we think they're going to be around 40 or 45 minutes, but we plan them to be an hour. This call went an hour and 13 minutes. I think she was really surprised that she had a sales call with yours truly. She's like, I was expecting it to be somebody on your sales team. And I'm like, I know, this is how we're starting it. So we talked in depth about her business. She said yes on the call. She wanted to process it with her partner. And she said, send me the link. I want to invest tomorrow. So all in all, it was great. It was great. It was great. I followed the script. I would say I probably stayed to the script. I went out of order a little bit, but I felt like I got the components of understanding, like, what was the pressure point? Is she ready for this type of course? I wanted to make sure that this was coming from her, that she was ready. It's a 90-day program. So I want to make sure that when you're in for the 90 days, we're going to do this in 90 days. Like, is it in alignment? And so I'm really excited. I feel proud. I feel like I'm sweaty. I'm literally sweaty. I was sweating on the call. I got off that call and I was like, I literally need to go take a cold shower. But I'm very proud. I'm very excited. Lots of good things. Okay, one thing to note. I forgot this in all of the excitement. This morning, we sent the newsletter to a very small portion of the list. I think we sent it to about 150 people. We did this to gauge what the response would be. And I sent a voice message to the team and I said, hey, because this is new and we don't know how to gauge it, the last thing I want is to send it to too many people and the response becomes overwhelming and people can't book a call for, a week. That's not a good experience. And so we started off with a very small portion and we saw a pretty good uptake of people booking calls. And we've noticed that because there's just 2 of us doing it right now, there's very limited availability. We thought we were gonna send another batch of emails on Wednesday to another 150 people, but we decided we were gonna wait towards the end of the week to send the next wave or next round of emails, just to ensure that we are building a cadence that if somebody wanted to book a sales call, they would be able to do that in the next day or 3. Anything beyond that, it's just not that great of experience. So what I'm asking for is to lead with data and analytics. So what does this mean? I said, okay, of the 150 emails that we sent, how many people booked a call in the first 24 hours, in the first 48 hours, in the first 72 hours? So we are gonna be doing this and we're gonna be sending it to a very segmented list who is very warm. Now, when we send it to our big newsletter, we're going to be doing it again in segments. Will we do it in small segments of 150 people? No, because the newsletter is going to be a lot colder. We've been nurturing this wait list for about 2 months, letting them know that something's coming, letting them know that there's going to be an offer around consistent 10K months, things of that nature. So we will be rolling it out in waves, not as small. We'll be going wider. We'll be going more to my colder list. And then we're gonna see, here again, we're gonna be tracking data and analytics. When we send it to, let's say 300 people or 500 people on my list, how many people booked a call in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours? Because we're thinking that if people are responding as positively as they have been, which has been amazing and a big sigh of relief, is that it's gonna be a slower rollout than we anticipated. So here again, we're just learning lessons. I'm documenting them with you and talking about the importance of data, analytics, slow rolls, and then keeping track. Should we ever decide to make another offer like this again, how do we unroll it? How do we unroll it? Unfold it, unveil it, whatever. How do we the offer to an audience in a way that we're prepared for on the back end? Another thing I forgot. Oh my gosh, you guys, Monday, let's go Monday. I had an interview with a potential closer for the team. I really liked her. She had an interview with current president. She had an interview with our COO. And then lastly, she had an interview with me. I thought she killed her interview. I thought she was extraordinarily well-spoken. I think she comes with so much experience that I actually spoke to her and I said, I actually think you might be overqualified for where we are. This is a new offer. I don't know how our pipeline is built out. I actually don't know how we're converting on it. I actually don't have our sales scripts and every objection that we'll be facing dialed in. And she said, I know. She's like, I'm very familiar with this type of business. I'm familiar with you and I want to be part of this team. I was very excited. I think I was kind of taken aback. I sat there and I told her, hey, this call is as much for you as it is for me. I have no doubt. I literally told her, I have no doubt we are going to work together. But I am here to tell you that the experience that you have, the other sales organizations you've been a part of, they are so built out. They have sales teams of 200 or 250 people. We have a sales team of 2. are you okay with that? And I said, it's okay. I'm not going to be offended if now is not the right time for you. And she just sat across the screen and said, I want to build. I want to build this from the ground up. I want to lead this department. Like, she was very clear. And I was like, oh, okay, this is great. So we're going to be making her an offer. And I'm very excited. She might be the very first closer that we have. So all in all, a good day. I'm very tired. I'm also very excited.
So after another interview call and a mock sales call, we decided not to move forward with that candidate. And we began to hone our focus and get specifically on who we wanted. Like, we didn't need somebody just to sell an offer. We needed somebody that was going to embody our brand values, was going to understand who they're speaking to, and understand that we wanted them to lead, guide these calls with empathy and also clear action. So it was about a week or so that had passed before I recorded the video that I'm about to show you right now. So one thing that I want to be very clear with is that I shouldn't create a video in the moment. I know that about myself. When I am going too fast, I share reactions, and what I need to do is share a response. So this video was a reaction and not a response. And so I debated sharing it, but what was happening on that day was I had so many things back to back planned that I knew that if I didn't record that video right there and then, I wouldn't record that video at all, and I was leaving on a trip. So I recorded that video, and I'm sharing this video now to explain that it was a reaction and it was not a response. And if I could record it over again, I would be a lot more thoughtful with my words. I was just in the moment, and I was trying just to say exactly how I felt. And so it is the full version of me. And one of the things that I debated is I looked at the video and I said, oh, you're sharing a lot of your opinion. And to create helpful educational content, my opinion matters less than dealing with the facts. A bunch of people on the internet have a bunch of opinions. I actually have learned that opinions don't mean anything. What I want to do is I wanted to use this to show a series of facts and the decisions we made on those facts. I think that this video is a little bit too opinionated, but I'm sharing it here, understanding that I'm going to be taking the facts from my opinion piece and making a decision from that.
It's been about a week since I last checked in. And in that week, we finally have some data and feedback. That means that we're going on week 2 of our closing. And I am currently sitting at a 50% close rate. Ideally, I would want a 60%, but I'm learning how to get better. And yesterday, and it hadn't happened before, but yesterday, not one, but 2 people joined on the sales call. And I was so excited because I was able to celebrate with them, and I was able to, it showed a marked difference of my progress at being able to position value for the offer and speak to what they deeply want from it. So that felt really good. That felt like a win. Our other closing team member is closing at 43%. So we're only 2 weeks in. We have so much more room to grow, but we're excited because we're setting benchmarks for what we believe are the closers that we hire will start hitting. Because the closers we're hiring, we are not hiring anybody without experience. So we're looking for experienced closers. They have to come with previous experience. And we think that if we are closing between 40 and 50%, that will be a benchmark for them. Somewhere in like that 2 to 3 week mark. And so that's exciting. On the front of hiring, we were very close to extending an offer for a closer who came with a lot of experience and was a very viable option to a lot of people. And I did some research. Listen, people, careful what you put out online because it follows you. And it just culturally, it was not a fit for the type of student, this type of coaching student, the type of environment. It wasn't a culture fit for our team. So it was good. We didn't extend the offer. We kindly and respectfully declined. I just got off of an interview for somebody who I thought was going to be a very good fit. I want to hire her for my business. Unfortunately, she wants to get into high ticket sales. And so it's not a good fit, but I'm like, oh man, I would love to hire her. I think she's phenomenal. I don't know if she's a fit for the type of closer that we're looking for. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I need to say what I need to say. The business owners that we are coaching are very, oh my gosh, this gets cheesy. It gets cheesy. This is cheesy. It's just my truth. I deeply, deeply care about the people in this program. I deeply care about the experience that somebody will get coming on a call. I deeply want to protect, and I value and I respect somebody's time when they come on a sales call. And I also think that a sales call is a division of a brand. And right now, the division is of my personal brand. These closers are going to be a personal representation of my brand. They're going to be an extension of this offer. And I'm going to be very particular about who I want on this team. And so these people are great and phenomenal and they're good. And all I know is that they're just not right for this, which sounds crazy because I'm only using a litany of my past hiring experience versus the brand that we're creating, and then trusting. And I don't even want to use the word intuition because it sounds super woo. I'm going to trust my inner knowing. I'm going to trust that my compass knows the direction we're headed, and I need to spend the time. I don't care how long it takes. I need to viciously protect who this starting closing team is because we have a very warm funnel. We have a very warm pipeline. Like, there are people who are waiting to get a sales call. And right now, Katie and I are the only two people who are closing. We don't even have bandwidth to take the demand for the calls that are coming in. So if I am going to be putting a closer in a very, very warm pipeline, these people are excited to be a part and jump into this, then I need to make sure that from beginning, middle, and end, people are well suited. I think it makes me very awkward to say that. But I also know that the person whose job it is to protect the business and is to protect our students and is to protect the brand is me. Not even protect, uphold. It's my job to uphold the business and uphold the brand and uphold an experience. So I'm going to do everything I can to do that. And that is distinctly and cleanly choosing a team that will help us get there. Does that sound a little bit passionate? Okay, maybe. Tengo pasión. I'm not feeling any other way than more determined. I am more determined to get this right. I am more determined to build out a team. And I know that because we have a new offer that's not market proven, that very few people are going to want to come to this team. I understand that. I understand that we're playing with the short deck. I get that. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to rush this process. I want to rush this process because I want to start scaling as soon as possible, but not at the cost of the culture, experience, and the business. Okay, side note, let's get a little bit of an update on how the pipeline is going. If you can believe it, we are still using our wait list. We haven't, by this time, we thought we were going to be sending it to my newsletter list, my subscriber list. We haven't done that yet because we don't have the bandwidth to even sustain the interest that we're getting just from the wait list. And so I have a newsletter list that I never really talk numbers, but here we are. I have a newsletter list that's around 300,000. I can't send a newsletter to 300,000 people to say like, hey, we have this offer and we want to hop on a call with you to talk more about it. We wouldn't even have the bandwidth. Even if we had a closing team of 8, we wouldn't be able to handle call volume. So just this past week, we decided to yet again push back the public launch. We are going to start segmenting my subscriber list into small pockets of people, and then we're going to use data and analytics to measure how much of the lever we can pull. So in the beginning, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, we're literally making it up as we go. I have a pretty warm newsletter list. I have a pretty significant open rate and a pretty significant click-through rate, which is awesome. But right now, I don't know how many people are going to want to watch an interest video or set up a call. So we decided to segment the list, and it's going to be very small. We're going to do it to 1,000 people. We're going to send an invite to 1,000 people on my newsletter list. That is different than the wait list. The wait list would be hot leads. The newsletter might be, depending on what it is, warm-ish. So we're going to test it for 1,000 people, and then we're going to see the interest level, like the open rate and the click-through rate. And within 48 hours, we're going to decide if we're going to send it to another 1,000 people or we're going to park it there due to our closing bandwidth. But here again, we have not hired a closer yet. So we're still just working with 2 people who are in sales calls, and there's a limited time because I'm also recording podcast. and I'm also doing interviews, and I'm also creating articles and content. So I'm just reminding myself that slow is steady and steady is sexy. I think I said that wrong. I'm pretty sure I said it wrong, but you wanna know what? I'm just gonna own it, because slow is steady and steady is sexy. I don't want to scale immediately. I want to build a strong foundation. And I just need to remind myself that going slow builds the right foundation for us to scale, for us to give the level of attention and service that our students deserve and that they are expecting. And so it's like a mix of emotion. Like, I feel very happy, I feel excited, and people are often like, well, Jasmine, that's a great problem to have. It is. We're just in the process of figuring out how we might be able to scale it and still protect the integrity of our brand, business, offer, and experience. So that's where we're at. So today is the day we're recording the podcast. What you just saw back there was the behind the scenes of who is here and what it is that we are doing. So let's pop in to the final recap of this whole journey.
So here is an update at where things stand as of today. We didn't at all think that at the time of this recording, Consistent 10K is still in a private beta launch. It means that we have too much demand and not enough people to take the one-on-one sales calls. We have hired our very first growth strategist. She's killing it. She's having a 50% conversion within her first week. And so we have been filling up her calendar as much as possible. I am still taking sales calls behind the scenes. Like I'd mentioned in an earlier video, I'm dedicated to taking 271 sales calls. I want to earn myself out of this position. Katie is working behind the scenes at setting up our SOPs. Those were all launched. Our new sales strategist was onboarded correctly. Now she has clear KPIs. She has a clear way of documenting everything, and the system that we have created, yes, it will get better, but I am so proud of what this thing looks like. In fact, we talked to our coaches and they said, you have accomplished so much in so little time. And I decided that instead of starting our sales department with 2 people, we are going to start with 3 people. And before the end of the year, there will likely be 4 salespeople and a sales manager. So, I changed a lot of the words that I was using. I made the intentional thing for me to say, we are not moving slow. We're moving with intentionality and a foundation. I am unafraid to say that this thing needs to get to 7 or 8 figures in a given amount of time. I'm saying I want to build the foundation that will create another 7 and 8 figure revenue stream in the business. And I'm going to do this not just levered on my name, my personal brand, my brain, my wherewithal. No, this thing is built by the team and for the team. And when I win, everybody wins. The feedback we've got back on the program so far has blown my mind. I'm looking at these people and I'm watching them transform in real time. And I want to make sure that we have all of the systems in place so that when we start inviting more and more and more people in, they're going to be getting that same level of care and attention. And the only way we do that is with clear systems and having a support structure, not just from a sales team. We're also building out a coaching team. I could not be more proud of the coaches that are inside of this program. I couldn't be more proud with how careful and attention detailed they are. One of the things that we knew was going to make this program different is that there's no excuses allowed. We have people coming in and saying, hey, when are you going to get this done? And if you say it's going to be done on Thursday, you are going to be getting a message from a coach and saying, hey, how did it go? If you're saying that your video sales letter, if you're saying your DMs, if you're saying your marketing isn't working, then we're going to ask you, hey, upload your content, upload it what you're stuck with, and a coach is going to come back and give you a very detailed response of what needs to happen next in order for you to get a result. And then they're going to ask you, when are you going to get it done? And if you tell us on a specific day, they follow up on that day. This is a whole theory of what was broken in online education, and now us coming in and saying, if this is the thing that you want, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. You're going to get a result, and we're going to do it in 90 days. Hot dang. So lots of new things. I look forward to creating future podcast episodes about the things that we're learning, about the sales mechanisms, how I've grown as a saleswoman, and how before I was dreading and so nervous getting in them. And now when I look at my calendar and I see see sales calls is like, we're going to win today. We get to serve really well. We get to make an offer that we know is changing lives, and we get to see people get real results. I don't know. I'm literally so lit up by them, and I'm very excited. So like always, I bring you in on this journey so that you can take these lessons and implement them in your life and business. If this behind the scenes look at how we're building a sales team, specifically if you're watching on YouTube, shout out homies for watching on video. Send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know if you like this format, because maybe we start creating more of this like behind the scenes mix of video and podcasting. If you've liked this, please feel free to send it to a friend or send me a DM. Give me feedback. I'm literally making this content for you. And so if you tell me how to get better, I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you for watching and listening to The Jasmine Star Show.